Hey travelers, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm very excited to give you my 10-day itinerary for our recent trip to Hawaii. So we will have things from beautiful beaches to awesome excursions. So we packed a lot into this trip. Stick around until the end. I will give you my favorite part and my least favorite part of this itinerary. Let's get into it. So we spent the first 5 days in Oahu, specifically in Waikiki at the Hilton Hawaiian Village Waikiki Beach Resort. I have a full entire review of that resort. You can certainly check that out. It's in this Hawaii playlist. But this is our itinerary for the first 5 days. So day one, we flew from JFK to Honolulu straight in the Delta One full laydown seats because it was about it was 10.5 to 11 hours. For a straight flight. So I have a full review of the Delta One laydown seat experience as well inside of this playlist. But we flew into Honolulu, we grabbed our rental car, and then we drove over to the Waikiki Hilton Hawaiian Village. And then that night we went to a local grocery store, which is like the Foodland Farms, and just got some quick hot meals, some sandwiches, some Asian food and things like that, just inside the grocery store. Tried to keep it low key because really we're trying to recover from the jet lag and the time change. So day two was a bit relaxing as well. We actually kind of hung around the resort and tried to figure out what was going on around there and enjoyed the pools and the beach and things like that. We went to dinner at Tiki's Bar and Grill, which was kind of down the main strip along the beach. The restaurant was good, the food was fine, the service was excellent. It was very difficult to find parking. You actually had to park around the corner over in like the zoo parking, public parking area and pay for parking over there because there was nothing really around the specific restaurant because it was actually inside of another resort. So on day three, we woke up and we had a half-day package at the Kualoa Ranch. So the half-day package included a kind of movie bus tour and then also a boat ride around an 800-year-old fish pond and then also a catamaran ride out into a big bay close to Kualoa Ranch. So that was really the morning, and then the afternoon we ran back into town, into the hotel, changed, and then we were heading over to Paradise Cove Luau. So what was interesting about that is the Kualoa Ranch was a great experience. It was one of our favorite excursions. I have a full review of that in this playlist, but by the time we got back, got changed, we were rushing around a little bit and getting over to Paradise Cove Luau, which is very close to the Disney resort that is on Oahu. The traffic was horrendous. It was a start at 5 o'clock. We should have left around 3:30 to get there. You need about an hour and a half. So realize that, and we got to Paradise Cove kind of right when it was starting. You know, there was supposed to be like a cocktail hour at the beginning. We missed most of that, but realize traffic in Waikiki, around Waikiki, can get pretty horrible around 5 o'clock. Day four of our stay in Oahu, we did a Kaneohe Bay sandbar excursion. This overall excursion was fantastic. I also have a full review of that. It was a very relaxing day inside of the bay. Once you got out, it was a 20-minute boat ride out, 20-minute boat ride back. And then out there you could snorkel, you could kayak, you could paddleboard. You could get pulled behind a boat in a tube. There was just lots of things going on. It was really relaxing. I think we were out there for about 3 hours. So after that, we head back to the Hilton Hawaiian Village and we actually got ready for our family pictures. We had a local photographer meet us at Sandy Beach. And what was interesting about Sandy Beach for that weekend or those specific days, the waves were some of the biggest they've seen in quite a while. So it was really cool to see the waves in the background. But we got family pictures done at Sandy Beach. And then we headed over to the House Without a Key restaurant. So it had amazing reviews. We were very excited to go there, and we went there as a family with a larger group. I think there's 14 of us, so we had 2 actual tables separated, but wasn't very impressed. The menu is very limited, and I thought the food was just average, maybe 3 out of 5. It has very great reviews. The ambiance and where you're staying and where the restaurant is at the resort is beautiful, and it's very close to the beach, which is wonderful, but to me, the food was average at best. So on day 5, my wife and I actually spent the morning back at Sandy Beach because we were really enthralled by the waves and the surfers, so we head back there. We dropped our daughter and her boyfriend off at the Diamond Head hike. We didn't feel up to the hike because our stomachs were a little upset, so they did the Diamond Head hike, and we headed down to Sandy Beach while we waited for them to finish. And then we picked both of them up, and we all headed we all went over to Lanikai Beach, which is a small, really kind of upscale beach town that has a beautiful beach. You can see islands off in the ocean. It was absolutely incredible. The only difficult thing about Lanikai Beach is the parking is a bit rough. It's all on the side of the street parking, and it's a pretty popular beach because it's beautiful, low key, a lot of locals, beautiful houses in the area. So you will have to kind of travel around the town a couple times to find a spot to park on the side of the road. We ended this day eating at the resort at the Hilton Hawaiian Village at Tropics Bar and Grill, which is right next to the pools. The food is average at best, but the service was excellent and the drink selection was also amazing. So if you're looking for cold beers and you're staying at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, you definitely want to go to Tropics. So day 6 was our travel day to fly over to Kauai. So we flew from the Honolulu airport over to Louis Airport, I think is how they pronounce it. And that's in Kauai. So that pretty much took most of our morning set afternoon. And then once we got over to Kauai, we kind of chilled around. We went to Keoki's Paradise, which is very close to Kauai. We just walked there actually that afternoon through like a little bit of a park area and beautiful trees, and had dinner over at Keoki's Paradise, which also had some really cool merchandise. Food was excellent, service was excellent, it was a really good time. So on day 7, we really just lounged around the resort and checked out the amenities. We ended up ordering room service that day, I think for breakfast and dinner, so it was just a great day to unwind. Day 8, we took a private no-doors helicopter tour around Kauai. It was an incredible experience. I also have a review of that excursion specifically. It is a bit of a risk, so they'd let you know all the risks prior to going. Obviously, anytime you're getting into a helicopter, it can be a risk, but it was an amazing experience. After the helicopter tour, we headed over to the waterfalls. They were absolutely beautiful. The parking was a little bit difficult because it's kind of a dead-end road, and there were some local vendors there that were selling some different things, so we bought some of that stuff. It was a very cool experience, and then we headed over to let me make sure I get this next, the Waimea Canyon. It's the huge canyon inside of the Kauai Island. You can drive all the way to the top. So we did that. You can pull off to some scenic views and things like that and take some pictures. It was very beautiful. We drove all the way to the top and then drove all the way back down. There is kind of 2 ways to get to the canyon, but one area was closed because of actually a wildfire that they were trying to manage and take care of. While we were trying to go up that way, they turned us around and we went up a different direction. So on day 9, my family and a lot of our family went on a Zodiac boat tour up the Nepali coast. That is not something my wife and I were planning on going, but we were having a bit of stomach issues that morning, and that boat ride, from what we heard on reviews, can be a little rough. The family said it was an amazing experience. It was a bit rough at times. They said normally when the boat was moving, it was totally fine, but as soon as it stopped, it got a little bumpy. They backed into some caves and just saw some really incredible views. So they definitely would highly recommend it. But if you are having some stomach issues, or you could get stomach issues on a boat, make sure you either take something or it may not just be for you. That day it wasn't for us, even though we were planning on going. For dinner, the entire family headed to Duke's Kauai. This was a very cool, it had like an indoor rainforest garden vibe. It was a very neat place. The food I thought was excellent. The drink selection was excellent. It was right on a bay. The views were incredible. So the whole experience at Duke's was very good. And the reviews at Duke's are very good. So I would definitely recommend going there. So on our final day, it was more of a relaxing day. We actually hung out by the pool and the beach at the Sheraton Kauai for pretty much the entire day, hung around and just kind of relaxed, because we had a really busy week. Obviously, we were coming to the end of our stay for our 10 days. And so we just took in the amenities at the resort. We ended up eating at Lava's, which is the poolside restaurant bar right at the Sheraton Kauai. The food is pretty decent there. I wouldn't say it's incredible, but it's decent. But I would say what really makes this place is their happy hour is great prices. The food overall is not very expensive at the Sheraton Kauai in general, unless you eat at the Rim Fire. But Lava's was excellent, drink selection was amazing, and the service was also good. So the next day we flew from Lihue to Phoenix, and then Phoenix back to Philadelphia. So we actually had a layover in Phoenix for about an hour. I don't know if you've ever been to the Phoenix airport, but it was beautiful. It was the first time I was ever there. We had absolutely no issues coming home, which was a big plus, and it was actually an overnight flight for us, so we slept most of the time. So getting our time difference back was not as bad. Just realize when you are coming back from a 10 days in Hawaii, going there, you will have jet lag, so you may want to leave that first day open to more, catching up on sleep or getting yourself reacclimated. I would do the same thing on the way home. I would not try to go right back to work the following day because that can be pretty tough. We actually had a day in between. I probably could have used 2 because going back to work that first day was a bit rough. Okay, and now for my favorite part and my least favorite part. So I will start with my favorite part. It was definitely the helicopter tour over Kauai. So realize that this is a risk. You are in a helicopter and things can happen, and things have happened in the recent past. But what I would say is that was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had. It was a 52-minute helicopter tour, and you see parts of Kauai that really you can only see from the air, because you can actually only drive to 10% of Kauai, and then you can only walk or hike to another 10%. So 80% of Kauai really can only be seen from the boat, from a boat, which is around the edges, or from the air, and Kauai is a beautiful island. So the helicopter experience was unbelievably incredible. My least favorite part was Paradise Cove. Most of that was because I think leading up to it, the traffic was terrible. We were rushing around. By the time we got there, we were already late. That's not something I like. The show was mediocre. I know I was probably not in a great headspace when we got there, but most of our family just thought the entire experience was a little bit mediocre. They had like a buffet style. They said the food was fine, but that was definitely my least favorite part of this 10-day itinerary. So that is our family's 10-day itinerary for our recent trip to Hawaii. Let me know down below if I missed anything that was amazing that you've experienced in Hawaii, or if you have specific questions about anything that I covered, let me know. Also, I have tons of Hawaii content from our recent trip in our Hawaii playlist, which this will be in. So certainly check out those other videos if there's other excursions, or if you're planning on staying at the Hilton Hawaiian Village or the Sheraton Kauai. I did full reviews of those. So that is everything I have on the 10-day itinerary. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.